Good evening. I am Overseer Emma Alexander. I want to welcome you to Words for the Soul. Yes, we are live. Words for the Soul. We are in week 65. I believe we're in week 65. And I'm so excited about what God is going to be doing on tonight. We have some awesome ladies that are going to be sharing with you. Words for the Soul come to inspire, to uplift, to let you know that you are loved, that you are chosen, and God loves you, and that God has a plan for your life. And we are so excited. If you've not had the chance to like and share, I ask you to go ahead and like and share this page so everyone will know that we're on. And we are so grateful tonight. We have some special guests, some people who have been in our lives for quite some time. We have two presenters. Our first one will be Miss Brianna Demas, who has been a friend of the family for many years, and Sister Olga Young, that we have known, gosh, for many years as well. And the things that they're going to share will, I tell you, will enhance and will enlighten you. So make sure you like, tag, and share. So we're going to start off with Miss Brianna. She's going to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her organization, and then we'll put it in the hands of Miss Olga. Miss Brianna, we put it in your hands. We celebrate you this evening.
Thank you so much, Overseer Alexander. It's such an honor to be with you guys today, and I just have so much love and respect for your family. My name is Brianna Demas. I'm the Vice President of Programs and Communications at the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C. And before that, for about 8 years, I was at the San Antonio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So I'm here to talk about Hispanic Heritage Month in just a little bit, and about a lot of resources for small businesses in our community and how we can uplift them and support each other. Thanks again.
And okay, we have Sister Olga, if you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Olga Young. I'm founder and executive director of Smooth Cancer Wellness Center. And we are a wellness center for women with cancer who are uninsured and underinsured right here in San Antonio.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So you see that we're going to have an awesome time tonight. So Brianna, if you would start us off and share a little bit about what's taking place with the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen and you guys let me know if you can see it. All right. Can you see this one?
I just say you're sharing your screen. Okay, there it goes. Perfect.
Okay, great. Well, we are so excited to be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, actually wrapping it up. We are a unique month. We run from September 15th to October 15th. So we span over 2 different months. Each year, 16 de septiembre, or Mexican Independence Day, kind of kicks us off on September 16th, and then we run all the way through October 15th. But I'm excited to just take you guys through a little bit of information today and really focus a lot on data about our small businesses, because of course, during the pandemic, a lot of our small businesses are hurting and we can't do enough to help each other. So I'm going to jump right in and tell you a little bit about the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, where I work. We represent about 4.7 million Hispanic-owned businesses that combined contribute over $800 billion to the American economy each year. We also represent about 260 Hispanic chambers throughout the country, including Puerto Rico. So we try to be that umbrella organization, bringing a lot of resources and bringing all of our chambers together throughout all of the country, all 50 states and Puerto Rico. We are a pro-business, nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, and we're located in Washington, D.C. But I'll jump right in because this is really some important information that I love to share. Entrepreneurs of color are the engine of America's future economic growth. So Latinos create businesses 3 times faster than any other group in the United States, and Latinas create businesses 6 times faster than any other group. From 2007 to 2012, 86% of new small businesses in the United States were Hispanic-owned businesses. Latinos and Latinas represent about 63.5 million residents in the United States today, about 1 in every 5 Americans. But being Hispanic is not a race, as many of you know. We are an ethnicity. So when you're filling out the census or medical documents, school documents, usually Hispanic is not listed. I have a little graphic on there. You usually see American Indian, Alaskan Native, Asian, Black, African American, Hawaiian, white, but Hispanic is not a race, it's an ethnicity. So for example, more than 5% of the US Black population identifies as Afro-Latino or Afro-Latina. We have a lot of folks that identify as being Hispanic and another ethnicity. Latinos contribute nearly $2.6 trillion to the US gross domestic product each year. I like to put this statistic in here because it reminds us all that every dollar we spend just as personal dollars in our community adds up to so much, no matter your background. So every time you make a decision about where you're going to eat, where you're going to shop, where you're spending each of your dollars, it helps to try and think local, think small first, wherever we can. And I know the True Vine community is already so supportive of so many local businesses, and you guys know how important this is. That's definitely why I wanted to put that in there. The Hispanic population is growing. Just a little status update from the census. We expect by the year 2060 to have 111 million Latinos living in the United States. So you can just see the growth over time that's projected. We are climbing and climbing. The economic recovery for the United States since the last recession in 2008, half of that growth was fueled by small businesses, and the other half by trade and exports. Half of all Latinos and Latinas in the United States live in 5 states, and you guessed it, Texas is one of them. Texas, Florida, California, New York, and Arizona have more than 50% of all Latinos and Latinas just in those 5. Today, 1 out of every 10 jobs in America is created by an immigrant-owned business, according to the National Immigration Forum. And 43% of Fortune 500 companies in the United States were started by an immigrant or the son or daughter of an immigrant. This is where it gets really important. All of our small businesses have been impacted during the pandemic. Of course, a lot of them are hanging on by a thread, but I definitely love to share as much information as I can, whenever I can, that our entrepreneurs of color are being hit harder. I mean, it's just the data cannot be argued with. So the 5 business sectors that are the most affected by the pandemic generate almost 50% of the revenues of all Hispanic and Latino owned businesses, for example, and 65% of Hispanics and Latinos work in those sectors that are the hardest hit. And that goes for a lot of our minority communities as well. Latinos are overrepresented in 9 of the 10 lowest wage jobs that are considered high contact and essential, including food preparation and certain healthcare jobs. You'll see the poll on top that 33% of small businesses couldn't pay their rent in January. And these are some of the industries that were impacted the most, which are where a lot of our small businesses lie. Restaurants, bars, yoga studios, consumer retailers, so small shops, retail carts, massage therapy, beauty salons, printers, interior designers, wedding planners, event planners, manufacturing, transportation, and gyms. Those were all hit the hardest. More than 84% of Latinos in America could not work remotely or from home due to their specific job or profession and the rules in their job. And you'll see minority-owned businesses versus non-minority owned businesses, just the disparity there of who could not afford their rent in January. So that's just a snapshot in time. But we know that even now in October, our businesses are still hurting. These numbers have not changed as much as we would hope. So where do we go from here? How can we help? I wanted to really focus the rest of my presentation on advocacy, because I really feel like we can all be advocates, no matter what your background is, no matter what your income is, your education level. We can all be advocates for each other in different ways. Yes, some people may be able to donate funds and do certain things, but really having information, I truly believe that knowledge is power and information empowers all of us. So being able to share information with each other, share resources with each other, and be champions for each other is so important. So I'm sharing some of the advocacy priorities from the United States Hispanic Chamber that I hope you'll also become advocates for, especially because we're loud in the Latino and Hispanic space, but we advocate for all minorities, and we have a coalition of chambers. The United States Black Chamber, for example, is one of our national partners, as well as 2 of our national Asian chambers. And we come together on so many ways to advocate for each other. So you'll see here that, for example, access to capital and credit education is one of the top things that we push for all of our members. Nearly half of Latino and Latina entrepreneurs were denied a loan or access to credit for their business due to insufficient credit history. Those numbers are alarming, but we can change them one person at a time. A lot of folks, for example, were trying to apply for PPP funds from the Paycheck Protection Program, but they did not have bad credit. They had no credit. They had non-existing credit. And a lot of business owners told us, I don't have credit cards. I was taught not to take out credit. That was not a good thing. I waited till I was able to have enough money in the bank to invest cash in my business. Just so true for many people, and that it should not penalize them, but it does. It affects their ability to get a loan, even a forgivable loan, because that's the way the PPP was structured. Even though it was a forgivable loan, it's not a grant. It has to be processed through a bank. Of the 4.7 million Hispanic-owned businesses in America, only 52% have an existing relationship with a bank. That's another thing. Not everybody's working with a traditional bank. Some people still do cash-based businesses, and it hurts them when trying to apply for assistance. So that's something that we're constantly spreading education about, even if it's in your own families or with your kids, helping them open a small credit card where they pay it off immediately and make a small purchase so that they at least have some kind of credit history, can change their life later on. Even if it's a very limited credit history, it won't be a credit score of 0 or non-existent. But you'll see that there's definitely a lot of challenges that we're constantly trying to fight. Only 56,000 Latino-owned businesses received PPP loans, which was less than 1% of all PPP loans from the government, for example. An estimated 2% of Black-owned businesses were able to access those funds. The big question is why, and I get that question a lot. We really sum it up as our minority entrepreneurs disproportionately could not access those funds because they didn't know about it, because of the complicated application process, because of the short time window to apply, sometimes a language barrier, but really the majority just were not ready in terms of technology. A lot of our businesses do not use QuickBooks or electronic software to track their expenses and their revenue. Some people track it themselves in an Excel spreadsheet. Some people, we learned to track them in a notebook by hand on paper. And so the PPP, for example, required a lot of information and reporting that they had to pull very quickly. And a lot of our entrepreneurs just weren't ready, or they didn't have their tax documents all in one place from the last year. And of course, it was a crisis situation. So some folks were not in their actual physical office to access some of their documents. So technology is such a big piece of this advocacy. We're constantly trying to help small businesses one at a time to upgrade their technology, to invest in QuickBooks, which is not a free service, but to help justify that expense that may save them in other ways. Being able to pull that information and track their information can save them money in other ways. So that's definitely a big part of our advocacy at USHCC, is free trainings and trying to help folks upgrade their websites, add e-commerce to their websites if they're not already selling their products online, trying to help them get to that point. A lot of minority-owned businesses are 49% more likely to rely on their personal savings than to have access to bank loans. And I have another stat on the top. Only 1% of all venture capital from private equity firms went to Latino-owned businesses. So we know we have a long way to go in teaching people about venture capital and non-traditional ways to access funds, for example, and in opening those doors for folks and helping with the networking aspect of meeting new people, meeting these private equity firms that can help them grow their business. I thought this slide was very telling, so I had to include it. This is from the Latino Business Action Network at Stanford University. When you see how Latino-owned businesses and white-owned businesses applied for a loan from a bank, from $100,000 to less than $1 million, 17% were approved. versus 18% of white-owned businesses. So you'll see there was not a whole lot of disparity there, but of course we want that number to be higher. But when they went to ask for a loan of more than $1 million because they're ready to scale their business at that level, I'm ready to take my restaurant to a chain of restaurants, I'm ready to invest in a building versus just an office, that level of growth, only 8% were approved versus 44% of white-owned businesses. So we know that we have a big gap that we need to close of helping our businesses be ready to scale at this level and to open those relationships with banks and other financial institutions to why they're not getting approved. And it all goes back to really the previous slide, right? Access to credit, access to capital. It's all so important and so related. A few other advocacy points that I wanted to share. We're constantly talking about procurement. So doing business with the federal government or the city of San Antonio with Bexar County. In 2017, only 5% of US federal contracting dollars went to women and minority businesses. That's combined. When you combine the categories of Hispanic-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, Asian-owned businesses, and women-owned businesses, including white women-owned businesses, only 5% of those contracting dollars went to that combined group. So to give you some perspective, the US spends about $665 billion each year on contracting, and only 5% are going to those groups. So we're constantly trying to get our businesses certified. So that's a big thing I wanted to share. If you are a business owner or you know a business owner and you're listening today, I highly recommend you look at the South Central Texas Regional Certification Agency. I know it's a long name, but this is their website right here on the screen, sctrca.org, to get certified as a Black-owned business, as a Hispanic-owned business, as a woman-owned business. That certification will let you bid on big contracts, and you never know when one of those will be $1 million contract that can change your business's life and your family's life. So we're always talking about the importance of getting certified. Another advocacy priority for the USHCC is increasing representation on corporate boards. I'm very passionate about this one. In 2020, Hispanics held only 3% of seats in the boardroom of Fortune 500 companies, which does not reflect the population purchasing products from these companies. And Latinas held less than 1% of those seats. Black Americans only made up 4% of those board seats, and Black women 1.5%. These numbers need to change. There's just insanely low. We're constantly trying to push for training, but also for opportunities to open up more seats and to elevate resumes of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that are qualified to serve on these seats for these Fortune 500 companies. And to me, those decisions that are made affect everything. They affect the products that are selected on the shelves of the stores that we shop at for our families. They affect the commercials that we see on TV every day. They affect so many things for our communities, and representation is just so important. Only 2% of Fortune 500 CEOs are Hispanic. Another important advocacy point that I wanted to share was closing the digital divide. We know that this is so important to all of our communities, increasing high-speed broadband and Wi-Fi. There's a huge digital divide throughout the country. About 80% of Latino families only access the internet through their smartphone. And about 34% of Black adults do not have broadband at home, and 30.6 if they have children under 17 at home. So we know how much harder it is to do virtual learning, to access jobs if you do not have high-speed internet at home. I wanted to share this website, ebbbarami.org. It's right here on your screen. The federal Communications Commission did launch a new resource called the Emergency Broadband Benefit. So if you do not have internet at home and you're trying to get it, and if you meet certain income requirements, you can get a $50 stipend per month to get high-speed broadband. And this is limited until funds run out. So ebbparami.org, so important. There's also an additional stipend if you do not have a computer. They will give you a $100 stipend to purchase a device if you do not have one. Wrapping up Hispanic Heritage Month, I also wanted to share that there's good news that the first ever Smithsonian Museum, the National Museum of the American Latino, got passed through Congress last December. So we're really excited that it'll be the first time there's a Latino museum in Washington, D.C. It's in the works right now for where it will be placed. And I know you will hear a lot from Miss Olga Young soon on Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is also happening during October. But the United States Hispanic Chamber since 2016 has been partnering with the Cancer Treatment Centers of America on the No Esperes campaign. No Esperes means do not wait. Early cancer detection can save your life. We have a website, noesperes.org, with bilingual resources. But we know that Hispanic women, for Hispanic women, breast cancer is the leading cause of cancer death. We know that Black women have a 31% breast cancer mortality rate, the highest of any US racial or ethnic group. Data shows that Hispanic women, for whatever reason, are less likely to get mammograms every year. And Spanish speakers appear to have a 27% less likelihood of getting screened. So we encourage you to please take the stigma away and openly talk about this with your family, with your friends, with your parishioners. Tell them to get screened. It can save their life. We cannot say enough about this. noesperes.org.
Wow.
That's it. Sorry, I tried to keep it within 15 minutes, Overseer Emma.
Wonderful. That was good. Wonderful. Okay.
Here's some resources on the screen.
Great. If you take those down, Tara, if you put those into the chat, we can stop sharing.
Perfect.
She gave us a wealth of information. As you were sharing about not having the credit, that is so true. My daughter got out of college, you know, she didn't have any credit cards. She paid things by cash, and then she needed it, and then she didn't have a credit card. Then it took a while for her to get a credit card because people say, well, you don't have this, you not had a credit card before. So just getting that credit is so important. And then I liked how you talked about you do the training to make yourself to be accredited for, because you know I'm gonna be talking to you about that.
Yes.
With True Divine Elevation Academy, we have now joined the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce as well as the San Antonio Chambers of Commerce. So I want you to know there is information out there, and I thank you for letting me know about this information. So I look forward to, as we partner together, that we grow even more. This has been so great information. So come on, you guys, put some claps in there, some, you know, share, like, tag, and let them know that you really appreciated Miss Brianna. Awesome presentation. Now we have Miss Olga that will be talking about the Salute Center. We put it in your hands, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much for inviting me to join you today. Thank you, Brianna, for that segue into my presentation. And yes, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so I'm here to talk to you and just give you a little bit of my story into the world of cancer and what I did with that story. My story starts about 19 years ago when I was working in corporate America, living my best life, working as an advertising sales manager, decided I was going to be retiring in 5 years and sailing off into the sunset. But if you know the saying, just if you want to give God a good laugh, tell him what your plans are. And God's plans was not my plan. So as I'm getting ready to start going on the downside of my career at Southwestern Bell, I discovered a lump under my arm. Now, bear in mind, I had gone to the doctor to have my regular physical, which included a breast exam. He did the breast exam, said everything looked great, see you in a year, but oh, by the way, here, go get a mammogram. So it was during the holidays. I took the slip, I threw it in my purse. I said, I'll do it in a couple of months after the holidays is over. Well, A week later, I'm in the shower and I feel this lump under my arm. Thought that's strange. Wasn't there when he was examining me a week ago. I better go get this mammogram and see just what this is. So I go get a mammogram and they said, oh no, everything looks good. We'll see you in a year. I'll go on and send these over to your doctor. But I said, wait, there's this lump under my arm. Can you feel it? And she felt it and said, oh yeah, there is something there, but in the spot that it's in, it's not going to show up in a mammogram because the mammogram is for the breast and we can't see under your arm. So I would suggest going back to your doctor and showing it to him. So remember, I had just gone to the doctor a few weeks ago. And he said I was fine. I'd gone and gotten a mammogram and they said I was fine. But when you know in your knower that something just isn't right, you better go check it out and not ignore it. So I went back to the doctor. I showed him the lump. He was as perplexed as I was that it wasn't there a couple of weeks before. But he said, let me go on and biopsy it. I don't think it's cancerous, but let's just be safe. And at that point I go, well, I don't think it's cancerous either. I'm thinking it's a cyst, that you need to drain or whatever. But do what you need to do. But that's not where my mind was. So he did the aspiration, and the liquid is the fluid that they withdraw is supposed to look clear if it's non-cancerous and cloudy if it's cancerous. Well, mine was like somewhere in that middle zone where he said, I don't know quite what to make of this. It's not clear and it's not cloudy. We'll send it off to have it examined. So needless to say, it came back positive. And when you hear those words for the first time, you have cancer, it can suck all of the air out of you, that you just go into a fog, that you just really it's not something that you could ever prepare yourself for, but you go into survival mode at that point, and you have to do what you have to do. So I went through all of my treatment, all of my chemo, my radiation, my surgery, but God kept talking to me throughout that process saying, there's something I need you to do. I want you to open a wellness center for women with cancer who can't afford the services. And me and God, we had this conversation back and forth. I don't know how to open a wellness center. I don't know anything about nonprofits. And God just kept telling me, do it. Well, my preacher was preaching on the topic at the time, if not you, who?
Right.
If not now, when? And that hit my soul so hard that I felt like it was God speaking directly to me. And staying in my prayer closet, I decided this is something that I really need to do. So I have been working in advertising, marketing, public relations, that realm for over 20 years. And God kept saying, you've been telling people what to do, how to run their business all this time. It's your turn to do it. So I had to be obedient and step out on the word. And that caused me to form my agency, SLU Cancer Wellness Center. SLU is an agency for women with cancer who are uninsured and underinsured. All of our services are free. The wigs, the bras, the prosthesis, mental health counseling, lymphatic drainage therapy, massage therapy, patient navigation, case management, anything a person might need as they're going through their struggle, but can't afford to pay for them. We step in and provide all of those services under one roof at no charge. So it eliminates our clients having to go from agency to agency to agency, telling that story over and over and over again, because that can be a very daunting thing to have to cope with, in addition to all of the appointments that you're having to go through for your own health purposes. So SLU has been around now for 19 years, and we provide about 700 services per year. And that equates out to about we provide services to 700 women per year, which equates out to about 10,000 services per year. So anything that you might need as you're going through your struggle and you just can't afford it and you qualify for our services under the low income status, then we are there to step in and provide those services for you or help you to find those services. So like I said, we've been around for 19 years and going strong. If you know anyone that needs us, we are there to work with you with open arms to make sure that you don't fall through the cracks of the public health system, and that you're just taken care of and know that someone is there looking out for you, protecting you, being your advocate, and making sure that you're getting everything that you need as you go through your crisis. So that's what SLU is all about. We are located at 12525 Nacogdoches Road, Suite 104, and that's in the Now Word Plaza off of Nacogdoches, just off of Thousand Oaks. So our address, our web address is www.sluwellness.org. Feel free to look us up, go to our Facebook page, go to our website, let us know if you need us, and we'll be there for you.
Awesome. Thank you. Come on, let's put some love in the comments. I see people saying 2 phenomenal presenters. I had an opportunity. Miss Olga showed me the her new facility. She's been there for a while. I had not been there in a while. It is beautiful. And the things that they offer to the community, I tell you, is when you walk in, when you just come in, you feel the ambiance of a warmth. It's beautiful. And there's the receptions there. It's a welcoming place. And so when you're going through cancer, you need a place that you feel comfortable, that you feel welcome, that people are going to embrace you. So I applaud you. I applaud you, Ms. Young. I applaud you, Ms. Demas. You guys are doing some fabulous things. And I'm so glad you were able to be on Words for the Soul tonight, because people need to hear this. You know, God has given me this platform to share on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. But somebody will like and share, they'll hear what information that the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is doing, what the SLU Wellness Cancer Center is doing, and that's so important. I would like for you guys to just give us a closing word, a word of encouragement that you would like to share to someone, and then I'm going to close in prayer. So Ms. Brianna, what type of, what would you like to, words of closing would you like to share to our audience on this evening? And then Ms. Olga will put it in your hands and I'll close in prayer.
Oh, thank you so much for having us today. It's such a blessing to be here with you. And my closing words would be that for everybody to use their voice, no way is too small for us all to get involved.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Ms. Olga.
And I would just like to say, remember, I had to go to the doctor 3 times before they finally did a biopsy to figure out what was wrong with me. If you know something is wrong, if you feel something is wrong, seek out help. Don't be afraid. Knowledge is power. And the more knowledge you have, the safer we'll all be.
Amen. Thank you so much. And as you share that, and before we close in prayer, as I shared recently my testimony at a facility, a church facility, I was sharing with them when I first went to go get my mammogram, it came back negative. They decided I had a lumpy boobs because I had lumpy breasts. And then, so the first biopsy said it was fine. And then, but when they went in to do the lumpectomy, that's when they found out that I had cancer. They had to do a freeze, and they came back and they told me that I had that. So We, as you said, we got to use our voice and we got to be consistent. If we know something is going on with our body, we feel something, don't let anything stop us. I have my picture that I had up last time. Elder Barbara Kendrick, she is a two-time cancer survivor. She walked with me through this. I know she knows Miss Olga and she sends her love to you. And Pastor C, as you were saying, as she spoke to you about if God's going to use somebody, then who? When I told her I wanted to open up my school, she said, it's about time. So when, it's your time for God to use you. So I tell you, God puts people in our lives for a reason. And I thank y'all for being in my life. So for those who are on, Father, we thank you for this time of gathering on tonight. We thank you that our time being together has mattered. We thank you for these beautiful women that have empowered us, encouraged us, God, to make sure we take care of our bodies, that we have training, that we can be entrepreneurs, that there are information and trainings that help us to be successful. God, you have given us such a wealth of knowledge on tonight, and we thank you. We bless everyone that is watching. And if there's any woman that may be going through being afraid of going to get a mammogram or going through that stage of walking through cancer, God, we thank you that Sister Olga is a resource that they can reach out to, or myself, God, to share those informations, or Sister Brianna. God, we thank you right now that you would be glorified through this, and we silence the enemy that say that we can't, or we have to be afraid, or that we will shrink down. But we thank you that we are overcomers and the greater one lives with us. We are champions. And we thank you, you have anointed us to be champions in you, and we walk in victory in Jesus' name. Amen. Again, I am Overseer Emma Alexander. Thank you for joining me for Words for the Soul. Thank you again. Applaud for our presenters, Miss Brianna Demas and Miss Olga Young. You guys have blessed me. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on tonight. Thank you. And we'll see you next Sunday at 6:00 p.m. God bless you.
All right. Thank you.